Those are all our therefores and what-fors. We put them at the end of our proclamation. So that was produced by our, one of our co-founders, Peggy Callahan. Thanks. I'll let you know you liked it. I just want to go into a few more details to give you a little more context beyond what she was able to say in the video. And I can open up for a couple of questions if we have a little bit of time. Like I said, we're back, you can go to the next slide, that laws aren't enough, and you really have to think about slavery as a symptom of other things. And that's how we approach this problem. And you can't give someone sustainable freedom if you don't address the things that are keeping them enslaved at the moment. Now, this is a pretty big hit list of problems in the world today, and I'm not saying we've got to solve all of these problems so that anyone can be free. There's no way to do all of this simultaneously. And not all of these aren't in any particular order, and that's not all of the problems in the world today. And some of these are different for different individuals and how they come into slavery. But we believe in a holistic approach that it's not enough to kick down doors and bring people back to a community, because if you don't solve the problems that caused them to be enslaved in the first place, they're just going to roll right back into slavery. I want to mention a couple of these because there's some new trends that are happening in the world today that have made slavery worse. That's why this number, 27 million, has gotten so big in just the last 20 years or so. It's overpopulation, migration, and globalization. There's a lot of people who are on the move right now. There's people moving within a country from rural areas to urban areas, and people moving from one country to another. Mass movements of people around the world. And this is perfect for traffickers to exploit people. They just ask someone 3 simple words. Want a job? You'd reply to that. Want a modeling career in New York? Want to be a karaoke hostess in Tokyo? Want to work building the ski lift in Sochi for the Russian Olympics coming up? Want to help build buildings in Dubai? Want to work as a maid in San Diego? There's all sorts of traffickers who hide out inside this world of international labor recruiting agents. And the jobs look legitimate, because many of the jobs really are. But there's traffickers who trick people. They get them to some far-off place where the people are away from their normal support network, their family, their friends, their faith communities, their villages. They're without a lifeline. They're often held incommunicado. They're told that, oh, we forgot to tell you, the trip to America, you have to pay us back for that. Oh, we forgot to tell you, you have to pay us for the tools that you're going to use to build the ski lift in Sochi for the Olympics. Oh, don't worry, we don't pay you. We send the remittances back home to your family directly. Oh, but give us your passport, by the way, because you can't leave until you've paid off this initial debt that you owe us, and now someone's trapped. They miss a day, the debt grows, those remittances never get sent home. People are kept incommunicado so that the family just loses track of the person. And the person who's in slavery doesn't even know sometimes that they're actually in slavery. They don't know they aren't getting paid. It's horrible. It's a big criminal enterprise. And it's global, and in some places it's growing. And other places we're actually beating it back. So you can see pictures of people moving all over the world. This is some pictures that we took on different trips that I've been on. I just want to show you the 2 in the upper left. The man I told you was kept in shackles. Tario is up there on the top. He actually showed us the scars on his legs, where he was kept in shackles so he couldn't run away. He was kept in farm fields in Pakistan. And the woman just below in the green, her name's Viru, she talked about how the men and the women were kept in separate camps at night, and gunfire would be fired over the tents just to remind them that there were armed guards. So don't try to escape. You risk your life trying to escape. Could we go to the next slide? Here's a little detail about what we're talking about, supply and demand and population. Now, if you look along the bottom, that starts at 2000 BC and goes to 2004. This research was done by Kevin Bales for one of his books. And the line on the left is the population of the world, from 0 to 9 billion people. So you see along the bottom line, that's the world's population. And around the 1940s, as many of us might know, world population really started to grow. Modern medicine and better nutrition, the Green Revolution really helped population take off. And the top line, the jagged line, is actually the price of a slave. Now, this is, as best could be, deduced and extrapolated from oxen or what was paid for a slave at a slave trading auction at different times in history. And you'll see that it has just plummeted recently. It's supply and demand. So the price of slavery back in the days of the transatlantic slave trade was like $4,000. People were valuable assets. Now, they were, of course, mistreated, but they were valuable assets, and they were a substantial investment. Now, slaves are not that. This is why they're so horribly mistreated, because they're disposable. If they die, what's another $90 to find another person? They're mistreated. If they're injured, so what? I mean, this is the mindset of the slaveholder or the trafficker. It's easy to just find more people because there are so many people, and so many people are moving across borders and are desperate for work. So some of the trends that we look at in terms of looking at villages and trying to build sustainable freedom. Can we look at the next slide? Some of the factors that go into our thinking. We talk about 3 R's in our business: rescue, rehabilitation, reintegration. These aren't as easy as it sounds. Sometimes families have sold a child into slavery for a small upfront remittance. Returning that child to the family, that's a tricky little situation. Sometimes they were only sold for 2 years of their labor, and they would be returned, and they never are. But that child's got some unresolved family issues with their parents. So reintegration isn't always just a lovey-dovey moment. Rescues aren't always easy. They're dangerous. It can get pretty hairy at times when people are rescued. Rehabilitation, this is often remedial schools so that children who have been rescued can then re-enter the school system because their education is usually just stopped. Also, it can mean micro-enterprise training and access to credit and job skills so that people can develop skills of their own, alternatives to slavery, so that they can do something else with their lives and not be vulnerable to having to leave home in order to try to find a job, which makes them vulnerable to trafficking in the first place. We believe in group action. It's really hard for 27 million people to get rescued one at a time. We try to do it village by village, sometimes country by country. What our group believes is that if we can demonstrate on a geographic scale that you can get a village free, and another village free, and another village free, they can join forces together, and it's contagious. And that's what we've been working on throughout the world. We work on rescues, we work on individual cases, but our biggest effort right now is on demonstrating that you can eliminate slavery, you can make slavery-free zones. And we would like to see that happen in our lifetime throughout the entire planet. Can we go to the next slide? I just want to say something because it was only touched on briefly about our connection to slavery. That we eat slavery, we wear slavery, we drive slavery, because it's not so evident. And it's easy to say, oh, that's terrible that slavery happens in other countries. But we contribute to the problem. And you have to work the problem backwards sometimes. So I'm not saying that there are slaves on the assembly line for, but there are, slavery is inside most automobiles. The steel that's used to make the body panels uses pig iron when it's smelted.